session that looks all at Microsoft OneNote. This is the first time I've actually delivered this particular session. And the reason for that is because OneNote is something that I use every day. So when I log into my computer every day, the first two things that I open are my emails and OneNote. And I store absolutely everything in this program. Everything I do, I build within OneNote, and it's just a really good place where I can just store everything. And I'll get right into detail on what it is. We'll do a tour of it, and I'll show you some functionality. Now, one thing I will say is there are so many features to OneNote. So absolutely loads to this, and I could definitely be here all day or do multiple sessions on this, going really into detail. But this one is that introductory session. I'm going to show you how to actually use it, why it is so useful, and lots of the different tools available for OneNote. So really quickly, as we go through the session, please do keep an eye on the chat. If you don't know where the chat is, it should either be at the top of your screen or the bottom of your screen, depending on how you got Zoom set up. And you'll see a speech bubble with the word chat underneath it. If you just click on there, open the chat, I've popped a message in there. I'm going to put some links in there at the end as well, just for additional support. But if you want to if you have any questions or you want to share anything, please pop it into the chat. I do have it on a screen over here. That's why I'm looking in this direction quite often today, because I'm keeping an eye on that, and also all of you in the meeting. As I do say, do keep yourselves on mute just to stop any background noise for anybody out there. If you do want to come off mute for any reason, please do raise your hand and we'll come across to you and we'll unmute you. But firstly, what is OneNote? So OneNote is a Microsoft program. So if you're used to things like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, Teams, all of those different things in that Microsoft program suite, OneNote is like those. It uses a lot of the features from those. The setup looks very similar, and if you're used to using those different programs, you're going to be quite comfortable using OneNote. Now, OneNote is a note-taking app, so you can look at it as a digital notebook. And it's where you keep all your notes, research, plans, information, really anything to help you keep organization of things. And you can use it for anything, life, home, work, whatever it might be. I use it for lots of different things. As you can see already in this on this screen here that I'm sharing. I am actually using, I've got 3 notebooks open at the moment. One of them is for my work. So I have a notebook and everything in there is for the work I do. And then I've got another one I do a lot of running. So that's the next one. And then I've got a notebook I've opened just for this session today, just because I've got bits of confidential information in the others, which I won't be obviously sharing on the screen. But you can open multiple notebooks and you can store all of the information that you need in those notebooks. And we'll really get down to how to do that, what you can store in there, and how it works. And again, you can manage so many different things in this one application. It really keeps everything in one place rather than you having to trawl through your computer trying to look for lots of different things. Just having it on one program, super simple. And as I say, that's why I only open my emails and OneNote when I do my work. And I can work off just both of those in one place. Now, believe it or not, OneNote is actually not part of the suite of Microsoft 365 programs. That's what they call them. You can actually get OneNote for free. If you have the free version, it stores a lot less. So you get 5 GB of free storage in OneNote. But if you do have the Microsoft 365 Office suite of programs, so you have a user for that, you're logged in, and you can get that with a lot of different packages. I pay for mine for obviously through work, but lots of different organizations offer it as well. NHS, they also offer the through NHS Mail, they offer the Microsoft Office suite too. But if you have it as part of the suite, you get 1 TB of storage, so lots more room to store more information. But again, you can have a free version of this app. Now, the other quite unique thing about OneNote is it is actually the only note-taking app in that category that's available on multiple different operating systems. So you can have it on the iPad, Mac operating systems, and you can have it on Windows and Android. So you can have it on both of those different systems. And again, I use those ones as examples because they are the most popular, but it's just to demonstrate that quite often, if you have an app or you have a program, and it's a Windows program specifically or Microsoft program, you can't always have it on your Apple devices, but in this case, you can with OneNote. So how do I find OneNote? Once you've downloaded it, again, you just need to go to the Microsoft website to download it if you don't have the Office suite. Again, you can have access to that free version of it, but once you have got it, I just go to my search bar, simply type in one, and there you go. I've got my OneNote here. If I just right-click on OneNote, I can pin it to my taskbar. What that means is it just shows down here at the bottom of my screen permanently. You can see I've got OneNote that always sits there. Again, just easy for me to just click on that first thing in the morning or at any point in the day when I'm logging in. And you can also pin it to your start bar as well. But once you've got OneNote, you just simply click on it and it'll open OneNote for you. Now, what I'm going to do is when you first log into OneNote, it will automatically have a notebook open for you, but you can create new notebooks. And the way to do that is you simply just go to File at the top left-hand side of your screen, click File, you go to New, and then from New, you can choose where you want that notebook to be saved. So you can either put it in cloud storage if you have cloud storage, or you can put it in a different location on your PC. So I'm just going to save it to my PC. I'll call the notebook, let's just call it Test for this session. And I'm just going to create my notebook. I now have a digital notebook. You can see I've now got 4 different notebooks open here. But in your case, if that's the first one you open, you'll have that notebook at the side of your screen. And I can move those around if I have multiple notebooks. Now, before we get into the notebook, how to create different pages and sections and sub-pages and all of that, I'm just going to quickly do an overview of what's actually happening on the screen. So, like with all Microsoft programs, again, they look very familiar. So, in Microsoft, you have your tabs, which are these options at the top of the screen. So I've got File, Home, Insert, Drawer, etc. And if you click on those, they will open up a toolbar with all of the different options that relate to the tab. So exactly the same as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. Now, again, I will be using a terminology that I use in all of my sessions, and it's Microsoft jargon. So I will be referring to ribbons. And what a ribbon is, it is how Microsoft basically divide up their toolbars. So if I go into the Home tab, you see I've got this whole toolbar open with all these different tools, but you can see these lines that appear. Sorry, there's a line there, one there, and at the bottom it's got a title. These are the ribbons. So clipboard is a ribbon. It's got your clipboard tools. Basic text is a ribbon, and you got your text tools and so on. That's just how Microsoft refer to things. So in all of the Microsoft programs, you have your tabs, your toolbar, and your ribbons. So again, if you're used to Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you're going to be quite confident navigating your way around OneNote. It's exactly the same. And those features carry across to OneNote as well. So you can see already I've got all of my text formatting, I've got my pasting options, got all my insert options where I can put pictures, shapes, spreadsheets. Again, very similar to their other programs. Now, the main part of the screen is this huge area here, which is this blank space, which is central right to the screen. That is my, that's the page I'm currently working on, the page of my notebook, so to speak. But as I said, you need to have a notebook first to start with. So again, recap, you just go to File, New, and then you save your notebook, title it, and it'll open your notebook. Now, for me, again, and for yourselves, you can create notebooks for different things. So maybe you have a notebook for your personal life, maybe you have a notebook for a hobby, maybe you have a notebook for work. Again, you can have a different notebook for lots of different things. And then depending on what you're doing at that time, you can just click into the notebook that you need, and it will open up all of the different areas of that notebook. So what do I mean by those different areas? So again, we just created that test notebook, as you can see. So I've clicked on it. And right below this, it just says new section 1. So that's the first section of my notebook. So for instance, I could have this as my work notebook, and I could create a section which could be, so for my work, I run lots of different sessions. I could create a notebook which is called session, let's just say session planning. Say that's my notebook. And again, you can just right click here as well. So I've just titled that page, but you can right click on the section itself. And at the top, you just see rename. And again, just right click, rename, and I'll call that one session planning. And again, it's almost like a filing system, very nice and simple. And then you can see I've got that section. I could create another section as well. Say this one could be research that I'm doing. So again, I'll right click on that section, rename it, and I'll just call this one research. And let's go for just one more section. Say I'm working on a project for my work. So I'll just create that one and I'll rename it projects. So you can see, let's see if I can spell. Again, so I've got session planning, I've got research, and I've got projects. So 3 different chapters in my work notebook. So now in those chapters, so to speak, I can create different pages. So let's go to session planning. And as you can see, I've got my session planning in that section. And from here, I want to create, let's just say, in the session planning, I'll just leave this first page, and I could put just a brief synopsis of what I'm doing in here. I could just put a description of this area for planning sessions. I could date it, do whatever I want there. Or I could just go straight into it with one of the sessions that I'm working on. So let's say I'm doing a OneNote session. So I'll just type in OneNote, and it just titles that page, as you can see in my session planning. And I know that all the information that I want to put in my OneNote sessions, I will just throw into this area of OneNote. Now, what if I want to create another page in my chapter session planning for another session? Well, that's really simple. In this area here between our notebooks and our actual page that we're working on, you can see we have, this is the area which stores all of our pages. So just above where I put where I've written OneNote, you can see there's this icon here, which is a square. There's this line here. If I click on that, it will add a new page in my notebook. So then I can go ahead and I can put a title for the next session of my planning, which is, let's say I'm doing one on Microsoft Excel. And if I've got a series of different sessions I know I'm going to be running in the foreseeable future, I will just keep creating pages. So I'll do another page. Let's say I'm doing one on Microsoft Word. Let's do another one. Let's say I'm doing one on NHS. Let's say I'm doing one on NHS Mail. Let's say I'm doing one on DSPT. So I now have 5 different sessions that I'll be doing in the future. And from here, I can just click into each one, and all the information that I will be putting together, I can put into the relevant page. So just rewinding back, so we have our notebook. We have the chapter of our notebook, which is a section. Once you've created your section, just click on the section that you want to, and then you can add as many pages as you would like to that section. Now, again, I could go ahead and create some more pages. So you see I've got my research, I've got my projects. Again, I can then go to research and I can create all the pages that I need for whatever research I'm working on. Maybe I'm doing a research piece on AI. Maybe I'm doing a research piece on, yeah, just got to think off the top of my head here. Let's just say business planning. And again, I'm just creating different pages, and that's where I'll put all my different research pieces I'm working on and projects. Now, for myself, from a business standpoint, from an organizational standpoint, maybe you have a notebook open. Again, I have these 2 you can see at the top. I won't go into them because there are a lot of confidential information, but I've basically created loads of sections in there, loads of different pages, and that's how I can just navigate through. That is my filing system. And I've got it saved on my computer. I also have it backed up as well, so I always recommend backing up anything. And the reason for that is in case something crashes, you have that copy there and you can continue work as usual. But I say, for instance, from an organizational standpoint, I'll have an area for all my session planning. I'll have an area for different partners that I'm working with. I'll even have an area for contact details. I support a lot with NHS Mail and proxy ordering. So I end up working very closely with the different help desks. So they give me lots of ticketing numbers, and obviously I don't want to lose those, and I get those through my email. So I will keep a record of all my tickets and everything I'm working on in OneNote. I know exactly where to go to that because I will literally just go into my organization one, and from there I will click into the section which is current tickets or active tickets or whatever I've called it, and then I can see everything there and I can just work through it on a day-to-day basis. Now, you will notice in OneNote, I don't actually have a save button. And that's because if I close OneNote, it will automatically save everything. So if I just close this now, close all of this, and hopefully it doesn't open my personal information, but I'll open it on the other screen quickly just in case. There we are. So you can see if I open it, and immediately it has already saved all of my different sections and it's saved what I've done. So I haven't actually clicked save, it continuously saves for me, and anything that I add in there will automatically save. So I don't have to keep remembering, I don't have to worry if it closes. If I just close this, go back in, it will retain anything I've just put in there. Now, OneNote, you can also just dump information in there. So again, you can create a page on just, again, anything. And I often go through and I'll just copy and paste lots of different things into OneNote. So I have it somewhere so I don't lose it later on, just so I can work through it later. But there are, as I said, so many tools you can integrate into OneNote. So as we've said, I have this session planning area, or I have my different sections. Now, from here, we have, as I said, this large area, which is our notepad, and we can really add anything to that. It doesn't just have to be text. Now, maybe you do want it just to be text, and in that case, you can choose, there are lots of different options up here, but you can go to Draw, and you can format your background. Maybe you want it like a notepad. So I will just choose one of these options. And then it makes my screen literally look like a classic notepad. And you can type in there. You can even use one of these pens at the top, and you can even hand write in here. So I could just put hello. And my handwriting is awful on the computer, but maybe you have a touch screen. I actually do have a touch screen, but I won't do it right now because I will mess up. But you can even hand write in there. You can make your pen size different. Lots you can do. You can even use these highlighters, highlight different pieces of information entirely up to you how you do that. I'll remove that. So loads of different options in there, but some of the ones that really, again, are very beneficial to me is that, as I said, you can really paste anything into OneNote. So for instance, if you go to Insert, it is the tab where you'll find in the toolbar and the ribbons, anything you can insert into this program. So just like Word, just like PowerPoint and Excel, you go to that Insert tab, you've got all the different things that you can insert into your OneNote. So they could be things like different tables you could add in. You can even attach files in here. So I'll just show you what that looks like. I could go to File Attachment. From here, I've just got some presentations that I've been working on. Let's just go to this one and insert that presentation. It will then ask me if I want to attach the file or insert a printout. If I click Insert Printout, it will literally paste into my notebook page by page that PowerPoint presentation, so I can see what it looks like. But if I just want to store the file in OneNote, so I've got it there and I want to just copy and paste it across to somebody, maybe I'm working for this presentation, or I am working on some emails and I just want to keep the files in one place, I can just attach the file to my OneNote. And as you can see, if I double click this, it will then open up my file. So I've attached it into my OneNote. Ooh, I've still got the draw function. I will make sure I click on that. And we will just get rid of those. But you can see I have my file. Now, another thing I will really quickly highlight in OneNote is that whenever you add anything to your page, you will get this small box around it. It's almost like an individual text box. So if I click in here, I can start typing, let's just say text. Let's just do text box. I can type in there. I'm just going to zoom in a bit just so everyone can see this slightly better. But you can see you can type in this box and you can retain everything in there. But if I click in a different area in OneNote and start typing again, so again, let's just do tester, you can see it gives me its own text box. And I can simply click on this gray area and I can just move these around anywhere on the screen. So I can move this around here, I can move this around here, and you can put as much text as you want in these boxes. You can, again, paste all your information in there. So I use different pages where, again, I have one section of information and I'll just keep it all in the same text box. So there could be different links in there. As you can see, I can just post them in there. I could put different links in there, different pieces of text. And then that just keeps that all together. And if I just want to move that around, I can. So I can just simply click on this, move it around. I can also right click and copy it. So if I copy that, it will copy everything in that text box. And I can paste that anywhere I want. So in an email, in a different program, whatever it might be, or even somewhere else on OneNote. And then again, it just ensures that I'm not copying everything. So I could just move around my other text boxes. But as I say, anytime you click anywhere in OneNote or paste something in or add something in, it will have its own text box. I'm just going to delete that one. And again, I will delete that one as well. Just keep the screen nice and clear. You still see I've got my highlighted. That should have its own text box as well. There we are. So some more things that you can add in. You can add spreadsheets. So you can work on Excel spreadsheets in here. So instead of going across to Microsoft Excel, building a spreadsheet, saving it, copying it, opening OneNote, pasting it in, making sure it's formatted right. You don't have to do all that. You can simply just create a spreadsheet directly in OneNote. And if I click on that, my toolbar and my tab and my ribbons at the top of the screen will all be transformed into the Microsoft Excel tools. And I can build my spreadsheet, and once I'm happy, I can click off it and then it will be on here. And again, I use lots of different spreadsheets in OneNote for lots of different purposes. As I said, maybe it might be invoicing or different partners I'm working with, or just keeping track of tasks that I've completed. Again, I use Excel quite a lot. You can add pictures in here, again, from files, cameras. Again, really anything you can think of, you can add into OneNote. And you can also just copy and paste things. So in this instance, you can even paste videos directly into OneNote. So quite often what I'll do when I'm building a session is I'll do some research on it. So I might go across to YouTube or another platform, search some videos, and I'll just copy and paste the videos directly into OneNote so that I can come back later and watch those so I haven't lost them. So for instance, what I'll just show you how to do that. I'm just going to open YouTube on another screen really quick. We'll just make sure I can actually move that. There we are. So I'm just going to move this screen across. So I've got YouTube. I've just typed in OneNote. Maybe I found a video on OneNote that I want to use later on. So I just click onto the video. And rather than watch it now, I'm just going to save that video and put it in OneNote. So I'm just going to right click on the video itself. And I'm going to click copy video URL. And then I'm just going to close YouTube. And I'm literally just going to paste it into OneNote. And you can see I have the video right here, and I can click on that, and we'll just give it a second because it does take a few moments to format, as you can see. But now the video is in OneNote, and I can click on that, and I can watch that video in OneNote. And again, you can put multiple videos in there. And as I said, it's just a really great place to store anything. So instead of having tabs open, saving them as bookmarks on my web browser, so I can come back and find them later, instead of that, I could just copy the video, put it into OneNote, copy the pictures, put it into OneNote, copy the text, put it into OneNote. And that way it just stores everything in one place. And I know I've just put this in the Excel I just put this in the Excel one, but I'm going to put that in the OneNote one just so it's in the right place. And again, that just helps me with my research and my session planning for OneNote. Now, as I say, lots you can do in here, adding those tables, charts, videos, Excel, adding in YouTube, adding in videos, adding in pictures. But again, you can do much more. So OneNote actually does integrate different Microsoft apps. And it's up to you how you use that. I won't go into too much detail today because, as I say, I will be here all day if we go into that. But one of those useful ones are sticky notes. So if any of you have used Microsoft over the years, some of you might be familiar with the application sticky notes. They look like digital sticky notes that you just take notes on and stick them to things. You can use that in Microsoft to stick those in different places, but you can also put those in OneNote as well. So at the top of my screen, as you can see, I have sticky notes. And for you, you might not have this showing there at the moment. You might just have, it almost looks like the icon is like a digital page. If you just click on that, it will open up an area and you can click sticky notes and it will add it for you. But if I click on sticky notes, and again, it opens it up, a lot of things open up onto the other screen. I'm just going to drag this across. You can see it opens sticky notes. And these are the sticky notes that are currently saved in my OneNote file, but I can add lots of different notes. And as you can see, at the moment, I've integrated this into Zoom, surprisingly. But these are some sticky notes that I've got attached to this page. And I can create new notes from here, and these are just two I just quickly did earlier, just for the purpose of this session. And I can just add lots of notes here. So that way later on, I could go off of this, close it. These are just notes I've taken. And they're not on my OneNote page, so they're not taking up too much room. They're just notes that I just want out of the way. They're things I'm just going to refer back to. So I might just put some draft information in here, just to brain dump in there. And then later on, I know that if I go to my test notebook, if I go to session planning section, and I go to OneNote, and then if I click sticky notes, when I'm in there, it will have the sticky notes for that page. And again, depending on what page I'm in and what section I'm in, I can create my own sticky notes. And as I say, I use that just to just keep the information on my page quite clean. And instead, what I'll do is I will just create those notes, just set it aside, and I can just quick click on there, and it's just some information I saved, and then I can bring them across while I'm session planning. Another thing you can do in OneNote is you can work with other people on your notebook. So at the top, there is a share option, and I can share either my entire notebook or link to just a page of my notebook, or I can even email a copy of my page. So maybe I've built out loads of information. I want someone to just quickly have a look. I can then email a copy of that page to other people who have Microsoft Office or who are in my organization. I can share the whole notebook. So maybe you create a notebook for your team or within your workplace or your personal life, and you have different people who also have Microsoft Office. You can then share the whole notebook, and you can all use the information in there or add information to it. So again, really useful tools. This is a cross-collaboration piece, just like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, where you can do the same thing. Another really beneficial piece of OneNote, as I say, is the ability to insert anything into OneNote. So some more things that you can do from here is you can insert maybe foreign language, and then you can use the translate feature. So if you go to review and translate, you can translate pieces of text in here. You can translate it into a different language, or you can translate it back into your language, whatever it might be. Very useful. And again, what I always like to demonstrate, especially to those from a workplace standpoint, especially in healthcare, is the need to add security to anything you're working on. And the reason for that is because if we are using confidential information, and our system gets compromised and we have no security, we could cause a huge data breach, which, as you know, I'll move this out of the way, as you know, could cause a real problem. Now, you can secure your different pages in OneNote with passwords. And by adding those passwords, it will also encrypt the information you have. So for my organizational notebook, and again, I won't go in there because obviously there is confidential information, but if I went into there, I have added passwords to different sections. And they are the sections where I contain email addresses and personal information from organizations or partners outside of my scope of work, and it's to protect their information. So I would highly recommend this to everybody. And again, from a healthcare standpoint, DSPT does require that systems and devices are encrypted. And as part of that, you can encrypt all the information in OneNote. So what I do, say I want to encrypt this page, this OneNote page in session planning. I will go to review. I'll go to the ribbon called section, and I will encrypt this whole section. So as you can see, it says current section, session planning. So you can see session planning. I will then set a password, and I can then enter my password, confirm the password, and press OK. And that way, whenever I click onto session planning before it shows me anything, I will then have to put a password in to then be able to access that information. And as I say, that way, if anyone does compromise your system, if your system does get compromised, if it does get accessed or you do lose your device, you'll be safe in knowing that you have encrypted and password protected those pages. It's also if you were to share a whole notebook with team members or whoever it might be, and there are some sections in there that you do want to keep private, again, adding passwords to those is very beneficial. So again, if there's one thing that you do take away from this, please learn how to keep secure your pages in OneNote, and that goes for anything. Really important just for the safety of yourself and others. Another feature that I use in OneNote day to day are to-do lists, and you can add those into OneNote, as I said before. So maybe I'm just going to create let's create a new section entirely, and let's just call that section rename. I'm just going to put work. So just my day-to-day work. And in there, I'm just going to create this first one, to-do list. So I've just created a new section called work, and I've created a page called to-do list. In here, I'm going to add a to-do list. And to do that, I would just go to the Home tab. And if I go across to tags, you can see the first one in here. If it doesn't show as the first one, you can click this small arrow here and you've got all these different options. I'm going to do a to-do list. So this one here, I'm just going to click to do. You see there's this tick box. And I'm going to just say create OneNote presentation. So that's my first one. And then if I just hit enter, and again, you can just do shift enter, and you don't have to have these so bunched up. Well, in this case, just for the purpose of this presentation, I could do another one, create Excel presentation. I'll zoom in slightly just so you can see this a bit better. Let's do another one on, let's say, check emails. And let's just do one more on research, let's say AI, just for the purpose of this. And then throughout the day, I could just refer back to my to-do list. And once I've finished whatever I do, I can click on the box, and it just gives me a tick to say I have completed that action. Again, I use these to-do lists usually throughout the week. I'll just keep adding to my to-do list, and that way I don't forget what I'm doing. And as I said, usually I get loads and loads of emails through the day with lots of different information from lots of different places. And what I could do is I could just go to my emails and just try and search through those or put different labels or put them in different files. And that way I just have to go to lots of different places on my computer, which I don't like to do. Instead, what I'll do is I'll open a OneNote, I'll paste the information in there into OneNote, I'll create a to-do list, and that way everything is in one place. You can also link your meetings to OneNote. So maybe you use Microsoft Outlook, for instance, and again, part of the Microsoft Office 365 suite of programs. And if I go to the Home tab and I go across to Meetings, you can see we got meeting details. Again, I haven't linked these. I've delinked them for the purpose of the presentation. As I say, there's a lot of confidential information in my emails, so you won't see anything. Hopefully, if I click on this, you might. But if I click on this, there you go. I've cleared it all for now. But if I had any meetings scheduled and I can check the different dates, it would then show all the meetings I have today in my OneNote. Again, as you can see, you're starting to piece together here. Everything is in one place rather than me having to go to my emails, my calendar, my files, my shared drive, my whatever it might be. Instead of going to all those different places, even different links I have on the internet, because every time I open anything and I'm working on something, because I create that notebook, section and those pages, as soon as I find anything of use, I will just put it straight into OneNote. And by having that very useful organized system, everything is nicely saved in one place. Now, as I say, there are so many different features in OneNote. And again, you could be here all day going through all of those. Probably the best thing to do, I always recommend, is just getting OneNote and just starting to get to grips with all of those different features. Something else that's quite useful is, as I did mention, those tags before. So not only do you just have to-do list, there are lots of other tags in there. So it might be that you have an area of questions you need to figure out. So maybe someone's asked you to prepare some questions for someone you might be interviewing or somebody you might be talking to. Or again, we've all been in meetings where someone says, "I'll prepare some questions to ask at the end," wherever it might be. This is just an example. I could do a page on questions, and then from here I could go to my to-do again, click the question option, just have that question mark, and then I could just type in a question. And you can add those tags to anything, and there's lots of different ones. Maybe you have a page on contact details. So I have contacts. Again, from here, I can go to tags, and I can click phone number, and then type their phone number, or maybe their address, or their details. You can apply those tags to anything, and that way it just helps you keep a visual record of everything you're adding into OneNote. And as I say, you can use those same text tools. So maybe you've typed out a piece of text in here. You can then format it with the different fonts. You can resize it. You can add bullet points. So just like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, you can even highlight it, change the text colors. You can do all of those things in OneNote. And as I said, every time you add something in, I will highlight it again, it will create its own text box. And you can put as much information or as little information in those text boxes as you want. And it just helps you. You can just move those around wherever you want. And you can also copy these and paste them to a different area in OneNote. You can also copy entire sections of OneNote by going to just right-clicking on the whole section. And you can do move and copy. And you can paste that whole section into another notebook. Same as you can copy and paste your pages. And you can also move those pages around just by clicking and dragging. Or you can categorize them by sorting them alphabetically, the date you created them, the date they were modified. So what I would say, what I recommend is do go through, have a look at OneNote. As I say, I use it for absolutely everything. And over time, I've started to use it to more and more. To begin with, I used to just use it for research. So I just basically just copy and paste everything into one place. and then I'd work on a different program to do it. And as I got more confident with OneNote, I started then building spreadsheets in it. I started then doing my meetings in there, even my emails. I started putting email information in there, and you can link these things to OneNote. And eventually it became a case, as I say, that I simply only have to open 2 programs in the morning when I log into my computer, because I know everything is stored in here. As I said, all OneNote is a digital notebook. And as we know with a notebook, you can use notebooks to file information. And Microsoft provides you the tools in any way you want to do that. So you can do anything. As I say, look at all of these different options up here. If you do get really stuck, like in all Microsoft programs, they do have a help tab. And the help tab, they do have training in here for you. And they do actually have support from Microsoft. So if anything's going horribly wrong, you can do it in there. But for me, again, as I say, one of the most useful features is the ability to paste anything in here. So those videos, you can even do sound clips you can paste into OneNote as well. You can even record yourself by going to insert, and then you can find the option in there and you can add in those different recordings. So anything that you can copy, you can paste into OneNote. But that is a slightly short session today, so I don't want to overwhelm you with information. There is so much you can do here. And this is more of an introductory session, just to get a feel. It is the first time I've done this session. One thing I will quickly show you is that we do lots of different sessions. So I run lots of sessions. I have typically put this in OneNote just for the purpose of, we'll zoom out slightly. I will paste these into I will paste these links into the chat. So obviously, I am part of that Sussex digital team, and we offer lots of free support. So I'm going to paste a link in there, and you can click on that link. Please do follow us on, oh, don't know why that opened. Please do follow us on social media as well, so on Facebook. And you can just see what we are offering on there. I support lots with NHS Mail. I also support lots with proxy ordering medication, and also all things digital. So I run lots of different upskill sessions, and you can find these on our Eventbrite page. So right here, I'm just going to paste that into the chat as well. That is our Eventbrite. If you click on there, you can see all the future sessions, and we have lots on there. If you want to see myself, I usually run a session every week on a different topic. And as I say, if you go onto there, you'll be able to future book into those. But I've also finally put my email on there. So if you do need any support directly from me, please do reach out. That'd be fantastic.